Is the European Union competent to adopt a directive on adequate minimum wages? Denmark, which is one of the member states without national legislation establishing a statutory minimum wage, believes it is not. Hence, it brought a case before the Court of Justice, seeking as its main claim the annulment in full of a directive adopted by the Union legislature in October 2022, which precisely addresses this matter. More specifically, Denmark considers that, through this directive, the Union legislature legislated in the areas of pay and right to association, which fall within the competence of the member states and not the Union. In its judgment delivered today, the court upheld Denmark's action, but only insofar as it concerned two specific provisions of the directive. The court thus rules that the Union's exclusion of competence does not cover every question or measure that has any connection with determination of pay or the right of association. This exclusion also does not apply to measures aimed at improving living and working conditions that would in practice affect wage levels. A different approach would undermine the effectiveness of the Union's competence as conferred by the treaties to support and supplement member states' action in the field of working conditions. On the contrary, this exclusion of competence is limited to direct interference in the determination of pay and in the right of association. Following an analysis of the content and objectives of the directive in question, the court identifies such interference only in two specific aspects. First, it concerns the provision of the directive that lists the criteria that member states with statutory minimum wages must at least apply when setting and updating such wages, such as the purchasing power of these minimum wages or the growth rate of wages. Second, it concerns the rule stipulating that the use of an automatic indexation mechanism for statutory minimum wages cannot lead to a decrease in those wages. In both cases, which involve direct interference in the determination of pay, the court concludes that the Union legislature exceeded the limits of the powers conferred upon it by the treaties by intervening in areas that fall within the competence of the member states. For the rest, the court confirmed the validity of the other provisions of the directive with regard to the Union's exclusions of competence in the areas of pay and right of association. In particular, the court reached this conclusion concerning the provision of the directive dedicated to the promotion of collective bargaining on wage setting, on the grounds, among others, that it does not require member states to compel a greater number of workers to join a trade union.